Going down.
Supermarket prices. Well, some of them, it would seem, at least. Kate Hardcastle is a retail analyst. Morning, Kate.
Good morning.
Hello, good to speak to you. So food inflation has been bubbling around a 40-year high for many months now. And so there have been concerns about food prices. But this week we've had some supermarkets cutting the prices of some essential items.
Yes, I mean, it's going to be all in the spend. That's when consumers will really feel a difference when their weekly shop starts to come down significantly. Because even though we know that the retailers themselves have had a drop in prices from supply, and that started to come down around December time, there is a lag. And also those retailers have additional price other than purely the supply of food. And that's in how they actually get the units of the retail unit to sit there with shop workers and lighting, etc., to be able to get the food on the shelves, or ditto the deliveries that you get. So there is a lag. But I think the fact is, when we've got consumers buying a block of cheese that's gone up so substantially, 50% in some cases year on year, it isn't going to feel like that price reduction is significant enough for them to feel the benefit, probably for a good few months. And even then, people are questioning how much we'll actually see as a drop.
Yes, and that was something that was an issue this week in Parliament, wasn't it? Supermarket bosses were being questioned about whether they were profiteering, keeping prices, I suppose, artificially high, or high to the extent that they're making a lot more money than perhaps they should.
Completely. And there's an operating body within retail that has suggested that absolutely it isn't in that final mile. That's not where the costs are. And in evidence of that, we've seen that brands like Tesco and Sainsbury's have really had a hit in their profit. They've had to slow down the increasing costs that they were getting from cost of goods to try and help us as consumers. That's what they said they were doing last year. And then, as I say, they've also had to have that impact of their own rising prices as they try and look after staff members who also are trying to live and make sure their costs of living are balanced. So the fact of the matter is that we've seen such substantial increases, 30% in dairy, 22% vegetables. It goes on. And that highest point that we hit in April as well of inflation, out of kilter completely with any cost of living that we're seeing, that it's going to take time to readjust. And I think whilst this is potential good news, it's probably not going to be as much as your listeners want to feel in their pockets.
I think one of the questions that I'm going to keep coming back to, Kate, throughout the morning is what do we consider to be the normal price for things? You mentioned things like cheese or dairy or whatever. How do we actually assess what is the normal, reasonable price for these sorts of things?
I think the gauge of what a consumer does is pretty basic and simple, and there's things like a 2-pint milk or a 4-pint milk, something they buy week in, week out, which will be their barometer, their go-to, that they'll say, right, okay, I'm feeling this is a reasonable place to shop, or I'm feeling like I'm in kilter with what I'm actually spending here. And that's been the challenge. A lot of the basics have really been affected. We have so much technology at our fingertips now. I used to have to go to every single supermarket to compare a price and feed back to stations like yours. Now I can quickly do a search online. I can get any single basket item and compare, but there's much likeness. And that's why you'll always see reports from people like the CMA to look into potential, is there enough competition within this retail supermarket industry to make sure that people are getting a fair deal when the prices are so similar. But the fact of the matter is that consumers probably don't understand supermarkets work in a way that they need you to buy a lot of product for them to be able to get that good profit in. What they're looking for you is as a quantity buyer, as a consumer. That's where they start to get the benefit from you. And that's why you'll see so much come through in the loyalty deals, just like we've seen in Tesco. They want you to buy more.
It's a really good point. Kate, really good to speak to you. Thank you very much.